class? Online class is the AV working? Online class, the AV is working?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today's topics are Finance Commission grants to the cities, Essential Commodities Act of 1955. We will also be discussing about Jan Aushadhi Divas and President State Visit Protocol, Passive Euthanasia case. Done? First one is Finance Commission grants to cities. See, in simpler sense, your cities, especially your tier 1 cities means like your Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, all of these places contribute 67% of income to your national GDP. Okay, these top tier cities are the ones which are giving maximum, but the real issue is they themselves are having huge shortage of funds. Okay, first thing. Second thing, for their funds they have to be dependent on your center and states. Now when I say how are tier 1 cities short on funds, when we say cities we mean tier 1 cities, tier 2 cities and tier 3 cities. But among these three, which is contributing maximum means that is your tier 1 cities. Understanding? So your 16th Finance Commission, in your previous current affairs we discussed about your 16th Finance Commission. Here 16th Finance Commission has not changed much to your cities. It has instead told, why are you always depending funds on someone? Why don't you create your own source revenue? Which means what? States are there, they will collect some money. Center is there, they will collect some money. Like that municipality, there is the city also, you collect some money. Meaning what? You also levy taxes. Usually cities pay what taxes you can put? Property tax, entertainment tax. So those tax shares will increase. Now your cities are upset that the 16th Finance Commission also did not see the plight of cities. Okay. This is important word you have to use because this is the same thing that the 16th Finance Commission used. Own source revenue generation can be higher as what 16th Finance Commission has told. So that own source revenue, keep a highlight. Done? Now, cities are generating roughly about 67% of GDP. They say generate up to 90% of revenue in your entire state perspective. Urban population keeps on rising, but the amount they are contributing remains same. Which means states have one issue, means your municipalities have another issue. From your rural areas, people are migrating to urban areas. And also with increasing population, they have to provide more. They have to provide more housing complex, they have to provide more sanitation. Whatever money comes in is going off there only. They do not have any adequate fund. In fact, they are in shortage of funds. If this is the condition, then your 16th Finance Commission also observed few things. What are those? Means 15th Finance Commission told, among 100% of GDP what we are giving, 0.1 to 0.13% of GDP you give to municipalities. This was in 15th Finance Commission. 16th Finance Commission is also telling the same thing. There is no significant change in your transfers to municipality. This is important data because they will ask in statement kind of question. At least this version, remember, 15th Finance Commission and 16th Finance Commission, transfer to municipality is almost same. Now, Population is rising, transfer is becoming stagnant, which means neither center nor state is bothered about it. Then what are other ways that your municipalities can survive? Look at this. Your concept of municipality comes under state list. Okay, which means state is the one who is supposed to give money. Apart from the center also told, I will give you some money. But what is the kind of money they are giving means tide grants. Okay, state and center are giving money, but they are giving in the form of tide grants. What is tide grants? Example, let's take Bangalore. And one more example, let's take Chennai. Both are tier 1 cities, but both have different kind of issues. In Bangalore, highest issue it is facing right now is, let's say, your traffic congestion. Okay, your Chennai, especially when it comes to its retreating monsoon season, your November December period of time, it gets huge amount of floods. Okay, your city itself will be in a place where you cannot hospitably live, which means your sanitation water enters the city, your drinking water gets polluted. Okay, now what is this tide grants means? Example, Bangalore does not have any specific or large amount of fund allocated to traffic congestion. Because of this, lot of climate issues are also happening. But that doesn't mean Bangalore municipality does not have money. Example, let's say they have 100 crore rupees in their hand. But center and state told that this is a tide grant. Tide grant means you will use it only for sanitation purpose. It wants to deal with this issue. It has 100 crore rupees money in hand, but it can't use it. Why? Because this money is tied with a particular activity. Means in this case, sanitation. It badly wants to do something for this, but it can't do, it can't touch this money. In this case, it has huge issues with respect to sanitation that will develop, water, that point of time it can use this money. But if the center and state are giving money, they don't care, each state is having different issues, let us give them the autonomy. Let them decide what they want to use. The fund concept is not there, that municipalities kept telling Finance Commission. Finance Commission also did not make any changes. So they are still struggling with tide grants, such as water, sanitation, understanding, development, it is stuck there. So there is more control of center and state over the funds rather than municipalities having larger autonomy. This is what should have been there, but this is one thing that is not there. Clear? So because of this, the state municipalities have large amount of money, but it is not spent. Why? Because for what is the important issue, they are not able to use that money. Now, if they want to ask money from your center or state, I need for this, then it has to go to state, it has to get approvals, and then it has to be approved by the concerned ministry. That itself is taking long period of time. By the time that issue itself will get too much over. Another way they are giving money is, one we saw tide grants. Another type of money that they are giving is performance based conditions. You improve your performance, I'll give you money. Meaning, how much municipality elections you have conducted, how much is the audit, have you properly conducted everything, and also I will give conditional funds. If you do this elections happen only, then I will give you this money. If at least 20% of your people have undergone family planning, then only I will give you money. So they are giving conditions for funds. But what happens with municipality is they have to directly deal with the people. Understanding, center and state is just giving conditions, but that may not sit well with the cities, that may not see well with the people. And for them to effectively implement, they have another issue of peri-urban incentives, which means they are telling smaller cities get merged with larger cities. No, this is what your center and state are suggesting. But reality is the municipalities lose the concept of identity then. And one more issue is, like I told you, your municipalities is a state subject. Center telling all this and trying to give incentives might harm the federalism feature. Okay? This is largely for your cities such as Delhi, where large amount of population has created large amount of your fogs, smog, all of this wherein, but no particular state nor center are giving climate finance. Cities are the first one. Any, let's say, cities have this concept called as urban heat island. Water doesn't seep in through them. Okay, sanitation, your capacity of sanitation is very much badly deteriorated, and also your waterborne diseases are higher because of the creation of slums. All this is linked to your climate change, but for your climate change, okay, or mitigating the crisis of climate change, no one is giving them money. What has 16th Finance Commission suggested? You develop own source revenue. Understanding? Your cities are prone to facing floods, heat waves, pollutions, and your center specifically takes money for your pollution, floods, heat waves, or for the climate change fund in the name of cess, but it does not give it to states, nor does it give it to municipalities. So cities are at higher risk but low funding. Neither center wants to give nor state wants to give. So your Finance Commission has specifically held that, I told you the percentage, 3.56 lakh crore will be given to the municipalities, which is 0.13% of GDP. This is almost roughly the same amount which was predicted and told by your 15th Finance Commission. So, total grants given in 15th Finance Commission was 4.36 lakh crore. Okay. But in that 90,000 to 95,000 crores is still unspent. Why? Again, I told you, tide grant issue, performance related incentives. So because of this, that remains largely unused. Again, they are having now even to use it for something else, they don't have provision. What is money given for, that only they can use. They cannot even divert the money if they want to. Okay, if they ask, I have other issue, give me money, by the time it comes to them, that issue is already way past it. So what is the total aspect that they are speaking about 16th Finance Commission? It ignores local priorities, but rather tells them you create own source revenue, and also it limits flexibility. It is also continuing with tide grants and performance linked incentives, and they are still going for your sector specific grants such as your water, sanitation, waste management. In performance based conditions, like we told, they have to keep on giving based on the performance, they will give money. Otherwise you generate your own money, which means you have to put more taxes. If at all municipality puts more taxes, then it will be equivalent to 1,200 rupees per household rise will be there. Every household has to pay additional 1,200 rupees. Now in your tier 1 cities, 1,200 rupees per month may not look like a bigger amount. But tier 2 and tier 3 cities, that will considerably increase their amount of spendings. So by this 16th Finance Commission, what are the issues? Smaller cities may fail doing this. They have the risk of losing funds. And also the peri-urban merger incentive. They've told smaller cities merge off. We will give you one time fund for you to merge. But this will lead to what? They will lose funds, they will lose identity. Okay. Urban development again is a state subject. By center offering these kind of incentives, it is unnecessarily meddling into cooperative federalism. So we saw climate finance gap. We have issues which only cities have higher facage, but your center collects huge amount of money in the name of cess for climate financing, does not give money to them. We'll see one prelims question on this. With reference to fiscal devolution to urban local bodies in India, consider the following statements. The share of finance commission grants to urban local bodies as a percentage of GDP has significantly increased in the 16th Finance Commission compared to 15th Finance Commission. Why? There is no significant increase, there is only stagnation. Tied grants restrict the ability of urban local bodies to allocate funds according to local priorities. A portion of finance commission grants is linked to performance-based conditions such as audited accounts and fiscal discipline. So only statement 2 and 3 are correct. Next question. Essential Commodities Act. Okay, for this a little bit of background is needed. I'll just explain it to you like a story, you write it down. What happened was, before all this present hangama of Iran attack, you know that your USA captured Venezuelan head of state Nicolas Maduro. They took them here. Now the reason why I have mentioned Venezuela is this place is rich for crude oil. But because the head of state itself is removed, right now the crude oil scenario, US has told that we will be looking into that, but still there is no confirmative action, which means crude oil is there in Venezuela. That much you remember. Okay. Now if you see these three countries, India, China, Japan. India and China put together are the most populous countries on the planet itself. First populous is India, second populous is China. India, almost 80% of its crude oil reserves, it will import. China, 90% of its crude oil import. 90% of its crude oil demand, it imports. Japan, 95% of its crude oil demand, it imports. Which means all three of them are extremely energy hungry. Their economy runs only when crude oil enters their country. All three of these countries. Among these three, these two are the most populous. Okay? If crude oil is not there, the country doesn't work. Especially for this country. This country has at least your EV models. This country has large amount of public transportation which is there. So this and this country can at least withstand for few days, but this country cannot. Understanding, you get the background. So crude oil is extremely important for these people. All these three people, but most important for this country. Now what happened? USA and its ally, Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, have attacked Iran. Okay. Now one thing about Iran is this entire chunk. Okay. Your Iran is entry into West Asia. This entire chunk is called as West Asia. The only thing these countries survive on their economy, like how these countries survive only if crude oil enters, these countries survive only if crude oil exits. This is their only source of economy. Now, crude oil is the only important thing that if they sell that, economy is there. If they don't sell that, no economy. All the West Asia ka crude oil passes through one narrow strip of land. Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Iran is the one that controls this portion. If you have to go here, you have to take the turn and then only go. So the north of Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Iran. The entire crude oil supply from here goes from here and then takes that bend and comes back. But now with these two guys hitting Iran, see, Iran does not have equal amount of arms like Israel or USA, nor the present leadership, nor the money. But what it has is huge amount of advantage. These three country ka crude oil dependence is here. Okay, so he told any ship that pass through here or here, I will blast it off. How I will blast it off? Through the concept of naval mines, which means you don't even know where the mine is. You pass a junction, the ship will burst, which means that much of crude oil is burnt. That crude oil is what they are carrying. The byproduct of this crude oil is your LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. Now only if it passes through this can it go here. Now one thing about India is China ka 90% of oil comes from here only. Japan ka 95% comes from here. But India ka only 20% comes from here. Okay. Before this, your US did a lot of other issues. If we buy only 20%, it should not affect us much because largely we was buying from this country. Before this Iran war started, your US literally bullied India into stop buying Russian oil. Okay, it told no, don't buy Russian oil. So they made us stop purchasing from Russia, which means here also no oil is there, here also oil is not coming. This country survives only if oil is there. Then how are we supposed to sustain? This period, this struggle is what led to your LPG crisis in India. Now when I say LPG crisis in India, that does not mean we don't have LPG cylinders. But the news broke out that your LPG production might get affected. Immediately what happened was your hoarders, black marketing, they created artificial deficit. Even if your LPG cylinders are applicable, let's say one LPG cylinder is worth 917 rupees. But because of this, people started panic and mass buying. Remember during pandemic time, after first lockdown, people themselves would assume pandemic will come and they would just stock everything. Same scenario started happening. This is what your hoarders and black marketers wanted to take advantage of. Now 917 rupees ka one LPG cylinder in the black market is going up to 2000 rupees. Okay, see, for a family that can afford 2000 rupees, that is fine. But largely Indian population, okay, more than 60% of people cannot afford this. Okay, this coupled with people working in informal sector, who are working in low income group, and those who are working as laborers in urban areas. Remember previous topic I told you, urban areas are growing is because rural areas people are migrating and coming. They are daily wage laborers. Do you think they have the enough money to go buy 2000 rupees ka income? Now at least if you feel like hotels are there, hotel people will cook, they can buy it from there. Even they need LPG to cook, na? So where exactly will these people go and eat money, that is eat food? So this has created a scenario where one of the most essential commodities, something that is so important for the country that you cannot allow any black marketing to happen. Center has to intervene. That is why it has triggered Essential Commodities Act. Read on up until here.
Why USA it does not allow to buy the with Russia?
Russia is fighting a war with Ukraine. There has no been solution. Russia is able to contain a war for 5 years is because it is selling crude oil.
But why it told not to buy with us?
We are the largest purchaser of crude oil from Russia, which means largest amount of money is going to Russia. With that money, it is fighting a war with Ukraine, is what USA is telling.
Then why India agreed to that?
Huh?
Why India agreed to that?
India had to agree to that for various reasons. One is we had a trade deal coming with USA. Second is all the countries started ganging up and telling India is the one that is financing Ukraine's war. So India was obligated.
No, it is not for.
It's not buying. But what happened was right now, because of your Iran terrorizing a Strait of Hormuz, we have a 30-day waiver. 30 days pay, you can buy. After that, you can't buy. Done? So, because of global uncertainty and West Asian oil disruption, there has been a huge issue in your LPG production. Now, the Essential Commodities Act concept in 1955 was created to make sure despite any issue or any event that happens within the country or outside the country, certain essential goods should always be available to the people. And it should also prevent hoarding, black marketing and stabilize the prices. Right now your LPG is undergoing all of these. Done? What under this particular Essential Commodities Act, what can government do? It can regulate production, supply, distribution, which means normal times pay they will not do any of these. If at all it's an essential product and if any sort of war has happened or any external crisis has happened, that time what rules government tells everyone is supposed to follow, including fixing of prices and imposing stock limits. Government has told, Instagram also you will be seeing, if at all anyone charges more than 917 rupees for gas price, contact this number. Understand one thing, if people are not having the next time thing to cook and they're not able to eat out, they are buying from black markets. Right? Irrespective of government launching huge amount of task force to curb, they have launched a little task force to curb your black marketing of your LPG cylinders, and yet they have not been able to successfully bring the situation under control. So section 5 of your Essential Commodities Act, this is important. It tells that the center can delegate the functions to the state government. Center can delegate functions to state government means center will create a list of duties or let's say impositions, rules, regulations that state has to then further give it to local enforcement, that is be it to their particular district administration or police. Okay, center can create rules, tell it to state, state will further give it to district authorities. So they will delegate the functions. Now what and all will come under essential commodities means food items, petroleum products and fertilizers. This becomes very important for prelims. Done? Fertilizers. We'll move ahead. So 2020 pe Parliament made an amendment. Okay, what did the Parliament make an amendment means? This is 2020 ke. 2020 pe they made amendment to Essential Commodities Act of 1955. What does it state means? It controls the power of center, which means, see, if you are going to meddle means what? Regulate the prices, stock, etc. of your cereals, pulses, onion, potato and edible oils. You can only do it if a war is there, a famine is there or a natural calamity is there. Otherwise, exorbitant amount of price rise is there. Apart from this, you should not interfere into these topics. Why? Because center is excessively controlling. That can also be a scenario. They have never controlled like that, but this can also be a scenario. That is why Parliament told center, if you have to meddle with these particular products, you can only do when there is a war, famine, natural calamity, or increased absurd price rise. Okay. Now, your liquefied petroleum gas or your LPG also comes under your essential commodities only, wherein government has told all the refineries to increase the LPG production, and your LPG whatever you are producing, it has two purpose. One for industrial consumption and one more for domestic consumption. Government has given the let's say a regulation for all the refineries in India, increase the LPG production and give it for domestic production, because priority is domestic production, industrial production can wait. Understanding? This is what they have told, and they have strictly told that you cannot divert it to petrochemicals. Basically, you cannot divert it to industries. We will also be strictly vigilantly watching that. Done? So what is the importance of this act? It will guarantee food security, energy security, inflation crisis, that is when abnormally large prices will come, and also for crisis management. Now the LPG issue is under management, crisis management and energy security. We'll see one possible question from this. With reference to the Essential Commodities Act 1955, consider the following statements. The Act allows central government to regulate the production, supply and distribution of both food and petroleum products. LPG is petroleum or not? So it comes under this. The powers under Section 3 of the Act cannot be delegated to state government. It can be, because otherwise how can center control the situation? It can be delegated. After the 2020 amendment, the regulation of certain agricultural commodities can be evoked only under extraordinary circumstances such as war or natural calamity. The articles you have to by heart and keep, because possible questions will be from that. And also it's been 5 years, 2020 amendment to 5, it becomes important. Third, Jan Aushadhi Divas of 2026. Jan Aushadhi, people's medicine. What is this people's medicine means? These are affordable generic medicine. What is generic medicine means? Let's say for example, there is one tablet, okay, which cures hypothyroidism. It has few components. Okay. Now if you see physically, the tablet ke behind they will tell you what components they have used. If you mix all those compounds, this tablet won't come. Understanding? Every company which produces that has patent rights over what it is. So even if they have ingredients given, you cannot create those tablets. So whatever components are there, India they produce alternate components. Instead of A, you will use B, which will both produce same results. Okay, and because of this what happens, you will be able to create medicines at a very alarmingly less rate, which means, let's say if this particular tablet will cost 2000 rupees, this will end up costing somewhere 100 rupees. Understanding? Why this concept was made means India largely follows the concept of affordable and accessible healthcare. Why it follows this means 75% of Indian population, if at all any health scare comes, any major disease comes, whatever economic status they are, they tend to fall one line below that. This does not apply to your high income group families. It applies to everything from your middle income families to your Antyodaya families. Because of that, to make sure that everyone has a right to life, Article 21 is there. Right to life also means right to health. Right to health we are taking from affordable and accessible healthcare should be provided in India. This should not become a burden on people. For that reason, we created generic medicines. Clear? So Jan Aushadhi Divas is celebrated on 7th March. The theme was for affordable and reliable medicines. Why are we doing it? For accessibility and affordability of medicines. Under this, one important scheme you have to remember is Pradhana Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Okay? This is started by your Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers under Department of Pharmaceuticals. Important this is. Also, what are they trying to do because of this means reduce out of pocket expenditure, which means they don't have to spend more on medicines. Provide quality generic drugs and ensure universal access. Your generic drugs, roughly it is estimated, is less than 80 to 90% of the cost of original drug. Okay, largely they want your BPL, LIG and Antyodaya families to benefit from this, but it is open for all. Initially when government started, they started it as Jan Aushadhi scheme in 2008, but in 2016 they rebranded it as PMBJP, Pradhana Mantri Bharatiya Jan Aushadhi Pariyojana. Okay. Why did they rename or rebrand it? Means they felt like it is not only the component that we are trying to give free and affordable medicines to people, but with this we have various other ideas in mind. What is it? For example, now we have a lot of food outlets. How does it run? Through franchises. They thought if we are able to bring in women, SC, ST, disabled people, ex-servicemen to take franchisee of Jan Aushadhis in your government hospitals, railway stations, because people will either way take these medicines. If these people take franchisee of these and start selling medicines there, we are creating entrepreneurship ideas. We are creating employment for these people. One, affordable medicines are also going. Two, employment is also getting generated. And for this, we will include all your primary credit societies. Now, I told you franchise means they have to give money and buy. Yes or no? But the section that I told you may not have that much amount of capital. So this is where financial inclusion comes in. They have told all the rural credit societies to give them credit, that is loans on extremely less interest rates. Understanding? So they will come under financial inclusion also, they will come under employment also, they will come under affordable healthcare also. So this is why they went for rebranding this idea as to just medicine selling to various other components which can be visualized from this. Done? Read on one line. Jan Aushadhi in 2008 had a large scale breakthrough. breakthrough with components of entrepreneurship, financial inclusion, accessibility means they started opening in your government hospitals, railway station, and affordability. Okay.
In 2008 only they had all these.
2008 ka Jan Aushadhi started having all this in 2016. Done. So how many medicines are covered under generic or Jan Aushadhi means 2110 medicines are there, 315 surgical items are there, 29 therapeutic categories are there, which means your Jan Aushadhi is of wide range coverage. Okay. The quality, just because the cost is less doesn't mean quality should be less. In accessible and affordable healthcare, first thing they told was cost is less but quality should not reduce, or quality should be of international standards. How do we know that it is of international standards? It is because your manufacturers, whoever are doing these drugs, generic drugs, have to adhere to WHO GMP standards, World Health Organization good manufacturing practices. Okay, while they are manufacturing itself, they have to do good way. And also NABL tested products. NABL means National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories, which means any generic medicine that is made by a producer will all be tested or accredited. Accredited means whether this is consumption fit for human beings or not, will be approved by your NABL, which is India ka. Understanding? WHO GMP, it is just few guidelines given to all over the world ka medicine producers. Understanding? This is just guidelines. This is actual testing done by India for these medicines. Whether they are human consumable, whether it meets safety standards, okay, and does it cure what it is claiming. Understanding? Now, under this, what and all they have bought? They have brought Jan Aushadhi sanitary napkins, wherein heavily subsidized price of 1 rupee per pad they are giving in this Jan Aushadhi center. Why? In order to make this extremely affordable and also spread awareness on menstrual hygiene. If this is one thing, also this is environment friendly because it is oxy-biodegradable. Understanding? They are following good practices also. It is good for environment also. It is good for the society also. Another thing is they have started largely your Sugam, Jan Aushadhi Sugam app, which means if you don't know where a Jan Aushadhi Kendra is, if you download this app, it will show you where the store locations are, what medicines can be used for what, and what are the alternate medicines that are present in market, and how much is the price range for difference for both these. Next is they started creating franchisee based Jan Aushadhi Kendras, and also private partnership in this is allowed.
Private participation in terms of private partnership only. Correct.
Yes. So, for anyone who wants to start this business, they are giving up to 2 lakh support. Who are they giving up to 2 lakh support? Women, SC, ST, Divyangjan, ex-servicemen, disabled people, okay? Otherwise, vulnerable sections of the society. disabled people. And also they have decided to start this in innovative locations. Innovative locations as in where people come movement will be higher, which will be your government hospitals and railway stations. Also, because to not just make it only about urban, they want to make it rural also. They have made PSCS also involvement, primary agricultural credit societies. They are usually like cooperative banks which will give loan for agricultural purpose. Now they have told rural area pe also people are there, rural area pe also people will get diseases, they also need medicines. So why don't people set up there also? But if they have to set up there, someone has to give them loan. So they have told not only for agriculture, give for this also. So by this way, they are targeting both urban and rural areas. The objective of this is not government to make money, just to make sure that all the objectives are reached. Women of any background will be getting, but largely if it is BPL, LIG, Antyodaya, their preference would be higher. Or if they belong to SC, ST, OBC, widowed, in this cases. We'll see one question from this. With reference to the following institutions or standards, consider the statements. Primary Agricultural Credit Society provides short-term credit to farmers at village level. I told you rural areas, the name itself is there, agricultural credit societies. So it is short-term loans given to the farmers at village level. World Health Organization good manufacturing practices relates to accreditation of laboratories for testing and calibration. These are just few guidelines. They will not, simple idea is, why will WHO come and test every tablet in India? Right? National Accreditation Board for Testing and Calibration Laboratories provide accreditation to laboratories to ensure quality and reliability of testing. Yes. So 1 and 3 only. Next topic, protocol for the president during state visit.
It's also having 10-year anniversary. It's this one from the 2006.
Yes, for 2026. That is why these become very important for this prelims. Done? Now, in our country, these people are at the center, president, vice president and prime minister. But if you look at it, the president is for whole of India, not just center. The vice president is also for the whole of India, because in case president is not there, he is the one who acts as a president. Then the prime minister, even though he is of center, he is the prime minister of entire country. So these three positions are considered as India's, okay? India's president, vice president is India's, prime minister is India's. Because of this, whenever they visit any state, okay, there is certain protocol to be followed, okay? What is that protocol? Means if these three people are coming to visit any state, whether their particular government is there in the state or not, you have to behave in a particular manner. All that protocol is mentioned in something called as Blue Book. Okay, if these people are coming and visiting the state, you have to follow these directions only. Who has created this Blue Book? Ministry of Home Affairs. Done? So, if whatever protocol is mentioned in the Blue Book, it is mandatory to follow. If you don't follow that protocol, it is called as breach of protocol. Done up until here. Now we will come to the issue that happened. Our President of India, Draupadi Murmu, went to go visit West Bengal. Okay. Now, according to the blue book, the protocol, it's not written now, it's written very beginning. Say it is what it is followed. According to the blue book, if the president is coming to West Bengal, foremost, who should go to receive the president? If the president is coming through your flight, you have to go receive the president in airport. If that president is coming through waterways, you have to go visit, because northeast and all connectivity is less. No? If the president is coming through railways, you will go to railway station to receive them. Who is that them means? Governor of that state and chief minister of that state. Both of them should go and visit the president in the place. Let's say if they are coming through flight, they have to go receive them in airport itself. This is the protocol. Irrespective of which government is in center. This is why means because this creates a uniformity, and also because the president has the highest order of precedence in India. If such a person is coming to visit, okay, you have to have understanding of one thing: the security detail of the person surrounding will be extremely looked after. Now what happened in this case means, okay, there is one provision where in case the chief minister is not able to receive because of XYZ reason, let's say the person is not feeling well, something, then they can nominate one state cabinet minister to go and receive the president of India. Done. The issue here was, this has been followed all the times. This is the protocol. President went, but neither the chief minister nor the cabinet minister was there to receive the president of India. This amounted to a huge breach. When you asked why, the chief minister told, I didn't know they were coming. It was not in my itinerary. First thing. Second thing was, they were here on some personal visit. It was not official visit. So why should I come? Okay, this was second thing. Third thing was, for the event that the president was visiting, they had requested for a bigger place, an audience, so people could come. Purposefully, they ended up giving a smaller place, okay, where only a small amount of crowd can come. When asked why, again, the state, where they will tell their police and all, no, police is under the control of state, it is in state list. They told, restrooms are not there, garbage is there on the side of the road, we don't have time to clean that. This is the only place that has restroom, so you can use that. So this action is not something that you show towards President of India, because still at the end of the day, President is the first citizen. Keeping your differences aside is how you have to act in a cooperative federalism. Not let your personal vendetta cloud your judgment, or do not let political judgment be impaired in something that is affecting the President of India. If you yourself don't respect your president, then how do you expect, whenever any president goes to another country, it is the protocol they will come and receive in the airport itself. If you are expecting everyone to do and you yourself are not doing, that is not correct and you have breached the protocol. That is the issue at hand. So this protocol issue is over West Bengal. Constitutional protocol had to be followed while maintaining political sensitivity, but that was not done. President is considered first in the order of precedence and it is the highest constitutional authority in India. According to Blue Book, which is prepared by the Ministry of Home Affairs, security arrangements, logistics, ceremonial procedures, all of this has to be followed how it is there. But in this case, they did not follow. And also, by the time, okay, local police level, from the time a dignitary enters to the time they leave, all the local arrangements has to be made by district magistrate and your police. The receiving protocol was governor and chief minister to receive the president, but that was broken here, either at airport, railway station, or any entry point that they come to that respective state. The only exception is if the CM can't make it, then they have to nominate any of their senior cabinet minister. Here that also was not done. Neither the chief minister nor any of their cabinet ministers were present. So because of this, if you are going to tell, okay, instead of me, someone else is going to come, you have to tell who that is also, because the security detail has to be verified. Here neither of those were followed. Okay, a protocol breach has happened according to your blue book guidelines, and this has not just breached the protocol but also affected the let's say your institution of order of precedence, where president comes first is being insulted, is what many people are holding. What is the point of creating something like this? It creates constitutional dignity, uniformity, and avoids administrative confusion. We'll see one question on this. With reference to protocol for receiving the President of India during state visit, consider the following statements. The President holds the first rank in the order of precedence in India. The Blue Book is a confidential document prepared by Ministry of Home Affairs. The Chief Minister must compulsorily be present to receive the President and cannot delegate this responsibility. Chief Minister must be present, fine. Compulsory is also fine, but the issue is cannot delegate it. I told you, instead of Chief Minister, there could be State Cabinet Minister also. Up until here is fine, but compulsorily also it's somewhere like 75% ka issues. So this statement is wrong. 1 and 2 only. Next, passive euthanasia in your Harish Rana case. Done? Again, this is also based on a case, so I'll just explain it to you like a story. This person, Harish Rana, in 2013, he fell from 4th floor. When he fell from 4th floor, he suffered severe brain injuries. Because of this, what happened? He went into a complete vegetative state and complete paralysis in all 4 limbs, 2 hands, 2 legs, completely in paralysis. Now this person was in no state for caring of himself and he was in vegetative state, means like a coma. You are living but dead kind of scenario. So from 2013, the parents of Harish Rana have been caring for him. They have went through every possible hospitals, treatments, allopathic or Ayurvedic, everything they have tried out. So much so that the house they lived, they started selling it, everything they started selling in order to make sure to provide for the treatment. 2024, they kept asking all possible medical professionals. Every medical board, medical professional told only one thing. This is irreversible condition. Okay, and he is being fed. How means he is not on life ventilator. He can breathe on his own, but entirely food has to go through your can. That is clinically assisted nutrition. Okay, pipes will be put and through that milk, something like that, they have to just pour. No response, no whatsoever changes in the condition. At this point of time, the doctors told that the more you just keep doing this, there is not even a slight chance that there will be a reversing condition. It is just going to keep costing you money. And also the parents felt like It feels like we are just putting him through more and more in trouble. So they approached Delhi High Court asking whether they can do passive euthanasia for him. That is, can they remove that life support? Delhi High Court told that he is not on any ventilators, he can breathe on his own, which means he is living, we can't kill a person. No, we will reject this. So the father of Harish Rana then approached Supreme Court. Supreme Court went for a very different approach. The parents are coming and asking this means how difficult it should have been for them, and if they are asking, they are only asking so that their son can have a right to a dignified death. Okay, not wanting to put him any more further through this is what they are asking, and for more than 10 years they have cared for him in all possible ways, and this is not considered as an abandonment, but they are making sure that at least their child receives a decent death or a dignified death. So this should be upheld. Supreme Court allowed for passive euthanasia. Passive euthanasia means, remember I told you, your can clinically assisted nutrition, you will just remove that. Okay, then what happens here is the course, the whatever disease is underlying, that will take, death will occur. Okay, you are not injecting any lethal substances and death will happen. For that, this work who will do means, they have told aims to look into this, so that the family which is already hurt, let it not go through further. Okay, this is the first time in Indian history a passive euthanasia has been carried out by a court order. Understanding? Clear up until here? Now the story of euthanasia means good death, okay, or a right to a dignified death. Euthanasia pe there are two types: active euthanasia, passive euthanasia. Active euthanasia means you will introduce one foreign element in their body. What is that? Example, some poison or lethal injections, and you are killing that person. Okay, in India this is illegal. Okay, because you are amounting to killing a life, that even amounts to murder in our country according to Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Whereas passive euthanasia means no foreign elements are introduced. Okay, for people in your vegetative state etc., you just remove the life support. Instantly when you remove the life support, they will not pass away. I told you here, no, for example, clinically assisted devices or on ventilators, anything that is just sustaining them, that you will remove. When you remove that, whatever issue they have, that eventually will lead to death, or it will lead to natural death because of the conditions they are in. This is permitted in India. Okay, but one thing is, there is no law on euthanasia in India. When I am telling this is permitted in India is because of this Harish Rana case. This became the first court-ordered passive euthanasia in India to ever happen. Understanding? This is completely illegal. Now the issue is, there is no single law on euthanasia. Now puts your legislature into the zone where it has to create a comprehensive law. Understanding? That is passive euthanasia case. So Harish Rana versus Union of India pe, first time they allowed that, okay, we have to consider at least passive euthanasia was in common cause versus Union of India case. In this case, I told you what the issue is.
Right to dignified death also used for the first time in the interview.
No, that was used in common cause. Yes, yes. Common cause versus Union of India case. It was not any particular case. Your judiciary made a stand. What happened is, in Aruna Shanbok case, one more case it will come, where they thought, okay, we will allow passive death, but many doctors and nurses did not allow for that, so passive euthanasia never happened. Okay, Aruna Shanbag case, if you just Google it, you will get all the history of it. I don't want to explain that again here. So there in Common Cause versus Union of India case, for the first time they used, okay, dignified death is permitted, but they didn't physically use it. Physically, first time it was used ever in India is Harish Rana case. Okay, so right to die with dignity also is included under Article 21. And also one more important thing is, in Harish Rana case they said that no, they are not abandoning, you know all that story, right? Now, in order to conduct a passive euthanasia, hospital is supposed to have both a primary board and secondary board. Primary board means who and all were treating the patient, okay, who have at least more than 5 years of experience of being a doctor. They also have to tell, yes, this case is completely irreversible. No matter how long we care, this person will not come back to normal. Then there will be secondary board. Secondary board means people who have not treated this, but experts in that particular, let's say neurology, ophthalmology, those experts will also come and review this. Within 48 hours, both of them have to give their verdict. And if both of their verdict matches same, then only it will go for passive euthanasia. Understanding? So this case happened in Harish Rana case, where entirely they told same thing. This case is irreversible, nothing can be done.
Which body is responsible for?
Which one? To creating this hospital.
Hospital.
Yes.
Private hospital.
Yes. But that experts I told, no, that will come from judicial board itself, sorry, medical board itself. That medical board is controlled by government. Okay, and all of this, whether it is a private hospital or a government hospital, if this is done, you have to inform your judicial magistrate, that is your district magistrate. Collector has to know, inform, approval has to be given. Then only this will further go ahead. Okay, just because any private hospital will think this is, they can't do it. Government approval is compulsory, and also judicial approval is necessary. Now here also decision within 48 hours by both the boards, primary medical board and your secondary medical board. Their judiciary will keep observing whether, just because they told, that doesn't mean judiciary will accept. They have to give their opinion, judiciary also will see, and then they will inform the collector also. All three of them, if they tell yes, then it will go. Otherwise it will not. Harish Rana case, all three accepted. First time your concept of dignified death came in Common Cause versus Union of India, where they introduced one more thing called as living will. Okay, let's say example, someone is diagnosed with cancer. At that point of time, while a person is still alive, is in senses, and if he feels like, okay, the stages will be advancing, so before that I will write a will called as living will. If he feels like, in that he will write, if all the medical boards, I told you, no, primary board, secondary board, judiciary and your collector, all of these people, if they give a yes, this person ka condition will no longer progress, at that point of time you guys can put me under passive euthanasia. This is called living will. Okay, this was established in Common Cause versus Union of India case in 2018. Judiciary accepts your living will, but up until now there has been no case that has come up with your living will, because all these were accidents. Harish Rana didn't know that such a thing would happen, and his was an accident. The example I told you was, if they have been detected with some rare diseases, understanding, that time we will permit. Not that just because they've got a disease they can kill him. He has to go into completely vegetative state, no more treatment returning, he is just surviving on few assisted devices, means that time they can pull the support. That is called living will.
What about someone who just has cancer and doesn't want to undergo any treatment?
No. That is active euthanasia.
Even if they have a living.
Yes. If you are living, that's what I told you, you have to go into complete vegetative state. You have no control of you, you have no cognitive abilities. That stage if it is reached only. Not because you don't want to undergo treatment, no such thing is allowed, because that will fall under active euthanasia. Voluntarily you are killing yourself. That is illegal in India, and also that is punishable in India. So euthanasia pe two types are there: intentionally ending of life. One we have active euthanasia, passive euthanasia. Active euthanasia is through your components such as your poison being injected. This is considered as murder, homicide and against your Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and passive euthanasia is allowed. In your judicial let's say proceedings regarding this euthanasia, Maruti Shripati Dubal versus State of Maharashtra, they held that there is also a right to a dignified death. Okay, but that cannot come like you taking your own life. Okay, in Giankor versus State of Punjab, they said right to die, which means a person trying to voluntarily take a right, your let's say someone will tell, no, I don't want to live anymore. Okay, many countries like Australia and all have assisted dying. That is, they themselves will come tell I want to die, they will help you in death. That kind of things and all will not be permitted in India. That is why I told active euthanasia is illegal in India. This case is very important because it set a precedent for a lot of things about euthanasia. You can Google much about this case and get to know. Aruna Shanbag versus Union of India case, for the first time judiciary allowed passive euthanasia, but the nurses who were taking care of her did not agree to this. Okay, this was a very gruesome case. Then Common Cause versus Union of India, they accepted to the concept of living will. This emerged because of this. Okay, Aruna Shanbag case pe they court permitted passive euthanasia, but nurses caring for her did not allow it. So finally she died of pneumonia last stage.
So which one actually have precedence for, which case actually has the precedence for right to die?
Common cause. Common cause came because of Aruna Shanbag. Okay, we'll see one question in this. With reference to euthanasia in India, consider the following statements. Passive euthanasia has been permitted by Supreme Court as a part of right to life under Article 21. Active euthanasia is legally permitted under Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. It is illegal. A living will allows an individual to specify in advance the medical treatment to be followed when they are no longer capable of giving consent. Yes. Keyword is no longer able to give consent, means they have to enter into that vegetative state. So correct answer is 1 and 3 only. Okay. With this, we are done with today's topics. Any doubts so far? I think you didn't understand. We'll end the session. Yes, you heard it out. Okay. Online class, any doubts?